हरे कृष्णा। यहाँ उपस्थित सभी भक्तजनों को आज की भागवत कथा में स्वागत है। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास गौरभक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। I express my obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. I express many gratitudes and many praises to Srila Prabhupada for having given us golden opportunity to go back to Godhead. All goes to Srila Prabhupada for his wonderful devotional services to Srimati Radharani and Lord Gopinath. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 We are in the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Suta Maharshi gives replies to the questions raised by the Saunaka Munis in the Naimisharanya forest in the first chapter. Yesterday we have completed up to verse 11. Today we are doing 12th verse. I shall repeat the shloka slowly. Please repeat 3 times with me and later I will give you the explanation. Tat Chadadhana Munayo Nana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Cha Atmanam Bhaktya Suta Gratya Tat Chadadhana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Cha Atmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grahataya Tat Shraddhaya Dana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Cha Atmanam Bhaktya Kruta Grahataya Tat Shraddhadana Manayo Gnana Vairagyuktaya Pashyanti Atmani Cha Atmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grahataya. The word-to-word meaning of this verse is Tat means that. Shraddhadana, seriously inquisitive. Munayaha, sages. Gnana, knowledge. Vairagya, detachment. Yuktaya, well equipped with. Pashyanti, see. Atmani, within himself. Cha, and Atmanam, the Paramatma. Bhaktaya, in devotion services. Shruta, the Vedas. Grihataya, well received. The translation of this verse is the seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional services in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. The absolute truth is realized in full by the process of devotional services to the Lord Vasudeva, or the personality of God, who is the full-fledged absolute truth. A person who is very much interested and inquisitive to inquire about a student, that is a disciple, a sage, in the process of devotional services, he hears to the all incarnations and the power of the Paramatma, Supreme God, the absolute truth. Beyond him, there is nothing else, because the absolute truth is the beginning and he is the end. Brahman is his transcendental body, effulgence, and Paramatma is his partial representation. As such, Brahman or Paramatmaization of the Absolute Truth is but a partial karmis, partial realization. Therefore, 4 different types of human beings, the karmis, the jnanis, the yogis and the devotees. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita also, Sri Krishna Padma tells in 7th chapter that 4 types of people worship him. That is, a person who is having full knowledge of Krishna. They worship Krishna. Jnanis who have full knowledge of him. The other one is the persons who have desires in this material world. To fulfill their desires, they do the worship of Krishna. And the third person who is doing research, like a scientist, they do research on various inventories. Similarly, here the different people who are inquisitive of finding out the absolute truth, they will be worshipping Krishna. And the karmis also, they who are after the materialistic things, they will be worshipping him. The karmis are materialistic, whereas the other 3 are transcendental. The first class transcendentalists are the devotees who have realized the Supreme Personal. That is the jnanis, like Suta Maharshi, who has the full knowledge of the absolute truth when he was in the womb of his mother himself. Vyasa Maharshi, his father, Suta Maharshi's father, has imparted all the knowledge when he was in the womb of his mother. He was in mother's womb for 16 years, unless like us we just be there for 9 to 10 months. Beyond that, will be delivered, or otherwise people go to doctors, gynecologists, make the cesarean and take the child out. Whereas this Suta Maharshi stayed in the womb of his mother for 16 years. At that time, Vyasa Maharshi has imparted all the knowledge, and Suta Maharshi is the person who is completely realized about the absolute truth. The second class translators are those who have partially realized the plenary position of the absolute truth. They also have faith in God, but it will be only in partial. They will not be able to realize absolute truth in full, as like Suta Maharshi. And the third class translators are those who are barely realized with the spiritual focus of the absolute person. This third type of persons are the Purushas who realize the God very partially, to limitedly, for achieving the results in this present life. They are called yogis, devotees. As stated in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures, the Supreme Person is realized by devotional service, which is backed up by full knowledge and detachment from material association. These devotees, they participate in association of the devotees. They extend their devotional service to God. Just by listening to various scriptures, gaining the knowledge of the absolute truth and preaching them among their family members and friends. Like that, they can follow the devotional service. Devotional service, essentially, it is not necessary to stay in a temple or stay at a home and completely meditating upon Him. That no individual can do like that. Why? Whenever they have the time, throughout 24 hours, 7 days, they can remember God by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, as well as discussing the glories of the God with all others associated in his life. And we have already discussed the point that devotional service is followed by knowledge and detachment from the material association. Here it is not that a person needs to give up all his actions. While performing all his activities, his karma, he can never shun any of his responsibilities. While performing his karma, remembering God, and he should not have any desires. He might have some aim to achieve, but the result of it, you leave it to the absolute truth. You just perform your action. Like that, you get detached with the materialistic things. As Brahman and Paramatma realization or imperfect realization of the absolute truth. So the means of realizing Brahman and Paramatma, that is the paths of Jnana and Yoga, are also perfect means of realizing the absolute truth. Now, we need to have the complete knowledge of absolute, that is Jnana. Again, the yoga. In the present days, the yoga means they perform in as an exercise. It is not an exercise. Knowing the absolute truth is the yoga. And this yoga can be of different types, as stated in Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna Paramatma. It can be Karma Yoga, it can be Jnana Yoga, it can be Vijnana Yoga, or Vijnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga, Shraddha Yoga. There are different practices to know the absolute truth. The devotional service, which is based on the foreground of full knowledge combined with detachment from the material association, and which is fixed by the oral. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. You want to speak, you speak outside. You can't disturb here. You can't see the darshan. For darshan, you have to wait till 9 o'clock. Now offer is going on, you shouldn't open like that. If you have time, you can wait. Devotional service is not therefore meant for the less intelligent class of transcendentalists. The persons who do not have any information, who does not know the glories of the Supreme Lord, he is a less intelligent person, and he cannot know the truth of the devotional service. Therefore, there are the three classes of devotees, namely the first, second and third class. The third class devotees are neophytes who have no knowledge and are not detached from the material association, but are simply attracted by the preliminary process of worshipping the deity in the temple, are called material devotees. These devotees, they don't have any knowledge at all, but they are, neither they are detached with the materialistic desires, materialistic association. They simply are attracted by the immediate process in the temple. They are called material devotees. Material devotees are more attached to material progress, from the position of material devotional services to the second class devotional position. And in the second class position, the devotee can see 4 principles of devotional line. That is, namely the personality of Godhead, his devotees, the ignorant and the envious. One has to raise himself at least to the stage of a second-class devotee and thus become eligible to know the absolute truth. This, whether the ignorance, it is not that ignorance cannot associate with devotees. They need to associate with the devotees wherever possible so that they will qualify to become the other type of devotee where he can have a little knowledge about absolute truth and to involve himself in the devotional services. And these devotees, by associating in regular devotional services with the other devotees, they can get into the second and gradually to the first level of this thing, to obtain full knowledge about the absolute truth. Therefore, one has to make definite progress from the position of material devotional services to second class position. In second class position, the devotee can see 4 principles, that is, namely the personality of God, his devotees, the ignorant and envious. One has to raise himself at least to the stage of second class devotee, thus become eligible to know about the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna Paramatma himself has told that this Bhagavad Gita cannot be instructed to any non-devotee or envious about him or his scriptures. A third class devotee therefore has to receive the instructions of devotional services from the authoritative sources of Bhagavata. That means a person who is a third class devotee, he need to associate with persons who are already experienced in the devotional services so that he can acquire the knowledge of devotional services to be offered. By gaining that knowledge and associating regularly with those in satsang, he has to listen to the Bhagavata through authoritative sources. Initially, he need to understand the Bhagavad Gita, which is like a graduation course. Then get into the Bhagavatam, listening of Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam also, as instructed by Srila Prabhupada, we cannot directly jump into the 10th skanda of Bhagavata, where Krishna's pastimes during the Dwapara Yuga is narrated. We need to start from the beginning so that we can know glories of all his incarnations of his past creation in the creation. The number 1 Bhagavata is established personality of devotee, and the other Bhagavatam is the message of the God. Firstly, we need to associate with the devotees in satsangs, and gradually we should understand the Bhagavatam message of the God. The third class devotee therefore has to go to personality of devotee in order to learn the instructions of devotional services. Such a personality of devotee is not a professional man who earns his livelihood in business of Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam cannot be preached for the purpose of gaining any materialistic wealth. It is meant only for the purpose of preaching the glories of God among the devotees and others. And it should never be misused for our livelihood for preaching Bhagavatam. Such a devotee must be a representative of Sukadeva Goswami, like Suta Goswami. see, again, these devotees who are preaching the glories of God must be in the disciplic succession of Sukadeva Goswami, like Suta Goswami and his subsequent disciples, and must preach the cult of devotional service for all around benefit of all people. The preaching is meant only for spreading the glories of God, but otherwise it should not be meant for his personal livelihood. And he should himself make this preaching for the benefit of all people in the world. A neophyte devotee but has very little taste for hearing from the authorities. The so-called devotees, neophytes, they will never be interested to hear the Bhagavatam from the right source, that is the authoritative source. Such a neophyte devotee makes a show of hearing from the professional man to satisfy his senses. These neophytes, they only pretend to associate with devotees and try to hear from the satsang about the Bhagavatam. This sort of hearing and chatting has spoiled the whole thing, so one should be very careful about the quality process. The holy messages of Godhead, as inculcated in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, are transcendental subjects. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita is directly sung by the Supreme God, Lord Krishna, and this message was conveyed directly to Arjuna on the first day in the midst of the Kurukshetra battlefield. So it is the very authoritative script Upanishad as a part of the epic Mahabharata. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also the scripture. This is compiled by Sri Vyasadeva Bhagavan himself, who is again the incarnation of Lord Krishna. In order to the prosperity of the people in Kali Yuga, this Iron Age, Vyasa Bhagavan has compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam, and he first imparted this knowledge to his son Sukadeva Goswami when he was in the mother's womb. A sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear the Vedic literature, the Upanishads, Vedanta and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis. There are so much such transcendental matters are not to be received from the professional man who spoils them as a serpent spoils milk simply by the touch of the tongue. The devotee shall therefore be prepared to hear this Vedic literature only from the Upanishads, Vedanta and other literatures left by the previous authorities for the benefit of his progress. Again, in the benefit of the progress means it's not that we have to renunciate all our life. While performing our all karmic duties in the present human life, we need to do this devotional service for attaining the actual progress. Actual progress means not only fulfilling the desires in this present world, we have to get out of this cycle of birth and death. Without hearing such literature, one cannot make actual progress. And without hearing and following the instruction, the show of devotional service becomes worthless and therefore a sort of disturbance in the path of devotional service. Unless therefore, you can sit and if you have time you can sit, no problem. Unless therefore a devotional services is established on the principle of Shruti, Smriti, Purana or Pancharatra authorities, the make show of devotional service should be at once be rejected. Any activities which is not prescribed in these scriptures, like the epics Mahabharata and Ramayana, or the 18 Puranas and Upapuranas, or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they should not be followed. An unauthorized devotee should never be recognized as a pure devotee. He need to be very careful while approaching an authority for listening the messages of Bhagavath Katha and Srimad Bhagavatam narrated by the Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna and Bhagavan Vedavyas Maharshi. One can see the all-pervading, localized aspect of personality Godhead within his own self constantly. This is called Samadhi. Now we'll get into the 13th verse. I shall repeat the verse 3 times. You word by word. You all please chant it loudly. Ataha. Please tell loudly. Ataha Pumbhi Dvija Shrestha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Sanustita Saya Dharmasya Samsiddhihi Harihi Toshanam. You can tell loudly. Ataha Pumbhi Dvijaha Shrestha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Manustaya Dharmasya Samsiddhihi Harihi Toshanam. Ataha Pumbhi Dvijaha Shrestha Varnashrama Vibhagasha Tasya Dharmasya Samsiddhihi Hari Toshanam. Ataha Pumbhe Dvijapseshta Varnashrama Vibhagasha Anustitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhi Hari Toshanam. The word to word meaning of this verse is Ataha means so, Pumbhi by the human being, Dvijaha Shrestaha, O best among twice born, Varnashramaha, the institution of 4 castes and 4 orders of life, Vibhagasha by the division of Sanustitasya of one's own prescribed duties, Dharmasya occupational, Samsiddhihi the highest perfection, Harihi the personality of Godhead, Toshanam pleasing. The translation of this verse is O best among the twice born. It is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of God. Here it is mentioned that we have to Dvija, twice born. Twice born means we are taking birth only once. However, twice born means when we are born, some rituals are performed like naming ceremony. That naming ceremony, parents who have given us the birth, they make the Namakarna ceremony, the naming ceremony. That is the firstborn activity. And again, after a few years, a guru, for earlier everybody used to wear the sacred thread during early ancient times, but now only men are wearing the sacred thread who are initiated by the guru. So when the guru initiates the persons, he gives one more name. He gives another name. That is, at that time will be considering as the second birth. That means this guru will show us a path to go back to Godhead. So such people, human society all over the world is into 4 castes. Again, it is not by birth. It all depends upon our profession. It's all depends upon the profession. In the ancient time, only 4 classes of people were there. That is Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Based on, and accordingly, Brahmins were doing giving education to all people over the world, irrespective of their birth. They were learned all Vedic subjects. They were helping the ruler, king, for ruling the kingdom. Like that, they used to guide everyone in their life. Such people were called Brahmins. And Kshatriyas, the rulers, were called as Kshatriyas. And the Vaishyas were the business class as well as farmers. And the Shudra people were the people who were helping all the other categories. In today's time, we, according to this doctors, teachers, lecturers, professors, all these people are considered as a Brahmin community, Brahmin group. Again, this, whether it is ministers or prime minister or chief minister or these superior IAS officers, IPS officers, all these all come under Kshatriya category. The business people and farmers, they come under Vaishya group. All the laborers who help in various activities, they are called as Shudras. So again, these Shudras are under different categories, like goldsmiths are there, potters are there, and again, for some reason, government has divided into some ABCD categories, backward class, so many minorities and all those things. So it's nothing but a big confusion created by the king, rulers among the people to create division and create jealousy among each others. So we should try to avoid such caste created by the present form of governments. These 4 castes are intelligent caste, the martial caste, the productive caste and labor caste. These castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. What I told you earlier, here Madhbhavatam is also telling the same thing. It is telling that it is not by birth, it is based on the occupation we perform. Then again, there are 4 orders of life. Again, there are 4 orders of life. That is, right from 5 to 6 years till we complete our education, present form of education, whatever it is called as student life. In earlier times, they used to stay in Gurukuls for 12 years and learn all sacred knowledge about Vedas, Puranas, epics, etc. In today's education, it is nothing but a literacy tool for the life existence. That is called brahmachari, student life. Again, after the student life, we get married and have children, and that is the family life. This is the household. This is known as householder's life. And again, after attaining 50 or 60 years age, after 60 years age, we'll be retiring. Retiring in the ancient times, after retirement, they used to go away to forest, vanaprastha. They used to solely depend upon the raw vegetables and fruits produced in the forest. They used to do many penance or yaga or anything and live their life in the forest. In the present day, it's a retired life. Again, in this Kali Yuga, the Iron Age, we cannot follow that Vanaprastha life also, because for so many reasons. If you intend to go into the forest and live that as an ancient Vanaprastha, it is not possible, because even in forest there are so many living beings, other living beings are there, human beings are there. They think after seeing you as a stranger, they might think that you have come there to steal their property, or they may think that you are a Naxalite or some dacoit, like that. So we cannot survive as a Vanaprastha in forest, but otherwise the same Vanaprastha life, while staying at home, you live in the family itself. In the existing family itself, you can stay there as a Vanaprastha by detaching yourself to all materialistic desires. Leave away all the materialistic desires. Whatever comes, you accept. Whatever you don't come, you don't think about that one and suffer for that one that you could not get it. So you be detached to those such things in the life after attaining the retirement age. And the fourth life is devotional life, renunciating the complete family and taking up renunciation like a monk. You will not be attached to the family, but otherwise you will be doing the preaching of glories of God to this society in the local areas, in the country, as well as outside the country also. You will be preaching the glories of the God and take the responsibility for the prosper of every living being, including the family which a monk has renunciated. That means the responsibility of a monk is increased after renunciation. It is not that a monk is just simply sitting in the hermitage or the ashrama and just doing the penance. That is also not possible, since for the existence in this life we need to have certain food, water, etc. For we need to perform some activities. For that reason, even a monk has to do some karmic action, but without any desire, and all his actions is meant only for the purpose of the society and every living being. Not only just mankind, all living beings like animals like cows, all, irrespective of anything, all living beings, he need to do the good. There may be such divisions of life, otherwise no social institution can grow in healthy. Like if supposing, for illustration purpose, a doctor he needs to carry on his profession as a doctor in treating the needy. Otherwise, if he follows to some other profession, doing some business or getting into the electronic assignment or doing some other legal profession, he will be a failure. For everyone to success in the profession, he needs to follow his own duty. For that purpose only the division of castes are made, so that everybody can follow his own duty. Otherwise there will be lot of competition. Everybody want to become a doctor, follow engineer, become a contractor, do so many activities like that. Today's competition is nothing but it has arisen out of such wrong following. So if one follows his own duty based on his qualification, he will be following the right path. And in each and every one of the above mentioned divisions of life, the aim is must to please the supreme authority, that is supreme God. Because we should help each other so that all are benefited. Since we are all belong to one family, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumba. We all belong to the Vasudhaiva Kutumba because we are all the children of the Supreme God. We are having different parents. Each of us is having different parents, but they have given just birth to us. But the Creator is our main parent to us. He is the Adi Guru also. He is the spiritual master for us. In case in this life we do not have a authorized bona fide spiritual master, you need not just think that you don't have a spiritual master. For that reason you cannot do the worship of Supreme Lord, because Supreme Lord himself is our Adi Guru. Consider him as a spiritual master. You start doing his devotional service to him. At a time he himself will provide us a proper spiritual master, leading us in a proper way to reach our original home, the abode of God. Whatever present house we have, whether it is owned or rented, they are just leased for our life during the present existence. Once we leave this life, that property does not belong to us. It goes to somebody else. Our main abode is the Supreme Lord. We need to reach Him. It all depends, again, reaching our own home depends upon the karma we perform in this present life. We have taken so many lives earlier, out of 84 lakhs different living beings, and that too not once or twice. In each of them many times, several times we have taken birth and death. Like that we have several parents also. It's not that the present parent is a parent. We have several parents, that because our Atma, soul is different from this body, so that our Atma has many parents. Many parents. Present body might be having a present parent, but so as we have many parents earlier, and out of very lot of sufferings, God has given us a golden opportunity to take birth as a human life. In this human life, He has given us an extra sense, intelligence, which all other living beings do not possess. By possessing this intelligence, we have to follow the righteous path instructed by God, so that we would go back to Him. While living in this life, you perform all your duties without neglecting anything, either the parents or the children or the other spouse. Without neglecting anything, you perform. You also help all living beings, not just the mankind, all living beings like dogs, cats, cows, goats, everything. You help them in their life properly, and in our own prosperity you are doing all these things. Again, it should not be a self-desire that for your prosper you are doing. You need to do all your actions for the purpose of all living creatures. And in each and every one of the above mentioned divisions of life, the aim is pleased to Supreme Lord. By the services, what I told you earlier, that we need to do our service for the benefit of all the living beings, that is for pleasing the personality of God. This institutional function of human society is known as system of Varnashrama. The earlier what I told you, the student life, householder life, Vanaprastha, and renunciating everything for the benefit of every living being. These Varnashrama Dharma is for pleasing the personality of God, which is quite natural for the civilized life. But otherwise, what we are doing in the present Kali Yuga time, everyone, right from the student life till the time of death, we are trying to fulfill our desires, materialistic desires, and for that purpose we are doing lot of unnecessary hard work to earn wealth and acquire those, fulfill their desires, and we are wasting the entire lifetime spending for some temporary happiness. You might be acquiring lot of wealth, and out of lot of wealth, after acquiring lot of wealth, you think you will feel happy, but we may not feel happy. By the time you acquire huge wealth, we might become diseased, like we might have diabetes, we can't eat sweets. If we have BP, we can't take any salty foods or spicy foods. Or if we have thyroid problem, both sweet and salt is we need to take limited, and it become unconscious case of physical handicap. So we can't. Our wealth will not help us when we are physically handicapped. Huge wealth we are possessing, but it will never help us. Like that, for the temporary happiness purpose, we are doing lot of hard work which is not necessary. Okay, you earn to the extent of for the required for the purpose of living, and remaining whatever wealth you have, you please use it in proper charity for the benefit of all living beings. For the benefit of all living beings, like giving some charity for goshalas and some old age homes. Like that, you help everybody, all living beings would benefit. And also do some preaching of God. Whatever you hear here or in any other satsang, all the good things what you have heard, try to preach among your own family, to the old age parents, your own other spouse, your children, your friends. Instead of chanting, discussing, chatting something different, which is unnecessary, wasting time with friends and relatives, you discuss, try to preach whatever you hear in the satsang, any satsang, from the Puranas or epics or Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, so that it would be beneficial for them as well as you. It is not for the artificial domination of one division or over the another. All these varnashramas are not meant for dominating other class of people. See, earlier this learned scholars, they never felt any proud of their knowledge, but they given this knowledge to others freely. In today's world, the education is sold at cost, right from the LKG to higher levels. It is sold at cost. In earlier times, they used to impart the knowledge freely by providing free shelter, free food and free food. Like that they used to do. And knowledge was imparted to all the people who needed different type of knowledge. Potters have been given potter's knowledge, goldsmiths have been given how to make the jewelry, this thing, that everybody were given different knowledges. It's not just only Vedas were taught. Whoever wanted Vedas were taught, if they are qualified and they were intelligent. So, we now, whatever knowledge you acquire by listening in this association, if you preach among them, you are not going to spend anything. Otherwise, your own knowledge going to increase. By preaching this knowledge, whatever you heard in the association of satsang, if you preach it to others, you will be practicing of remembering the absolute truth, and as well as you will also have a practice to benefit yourself in acquire this knowledge for remembering. It stays in your memory. You will never forget it. It is when the aim of life, that is realization of absolute truth, is missed by too much attachment for indriya purti or sense gratification, as already discussed here before. See, just now I told you that everybody is hankering and they are going with the materialistic desires and acquiring lot of wealth. That is the same thing what Srimad Bhagavatam is saying. That is not our aim. We are wasting all our life doing that. So we should be interested in hearing to the glories of the Supreme Lord as well as we should remember him and preach him while doing our actions. And we should have detachment from the desires. You need to have desire, but otherwise if that the desire is not fulfilled, just you should not worry about not getting that one and just hankering around it. The institution in the Kali Yuga or in the age of quarrel, this artificial predominance is already current. But the saner section of people know it well that the divisions of caste and all life are meant for smooth social intercourse and thinking of self-realization and not for any other purpose. Whatever the few people who know the absolute truth and have the knowledge of these scriptures, they know that the present caste divisions are only meant to have a smoother functioning of all activities. Otherwise, the ignorance, they never understand this one, they only quarrel among themselves, talking about the caste and other things. There is no system of caste by birth. It's only for the carrying out the profession. Hearing the statement of Bhagavatam is that the highest aim of life or the highest professional institution of the Varnashrama Dharma is to cooperate jointly for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord. This Varnashrama Dharma is created by Lord Himself during the creation. It is not that it is created now. Now the present governments throughout the world, based on their requirements for their selfish needs, they divided the people to create quarrel among the people. It is not necessary for us to talk about the castes of each other and quarrel for that reason. We should forget about all this. It's only just for cooperation between us. It only for cooperation between us for the existence of in this life, in the continuation of the service, devotion in devotion to Supreme Lord. By doing so, we will be qualified for liberation. Otherwise, because in this Kali Yuga, many people are following adharma. It is said that in Kali Yuga, 75% is adharma is there and only 25% dharma is there. But otherwise, it may be more than that. All people are following adharma only. That because they can make easy money and huge wealth with that one. So, with that one, what will be happening is we are acquiring sin, lot of sins. See, in this life, we should not acquire either sin or punya. Punya and papa, both of them we should not get. If we do papa, sin, you know the English or shall I tell you Telugu? See, papam cheskunte inpa bedili, punyam cheskunte bangar bedili. Ante emi, if you make good deeds, you go to heavenly planets like Chandraloka, Indraloka and all those things. You don't need a rocket. If you do punya, you go to those lokas. After this Atma leaves this body, we go to those lokas, we stay for some time as long as the punya is there. After exhausting punya, we come down here, again take birth, based on again the papa what we have made. It's not that we are doing only punya. Along with punya, we are also doing papa. So we have to suffer. So we might take birth in some animals or as a tree, or we may go to hell to suffer. So to avoid all this in moksha means we need to be liberated from all this life cycle. We don't want higher planets, we don't lower planets. We need to go to only Krishna Loka, either Goloka Vrindana or any Vaikunta in this Akila Koti Brahmanda. What you see is not one Brahmanda. It is Akila Kota Brahmanda is there. Number of universes are there. In every universe, so many planets are there. So in every universe, there is one Kailasa, Vaikunta and Brahmaloka. So we should reach any of the Vaikuntas, any universe. If you go to Goloka Vrindavana, where Radharani and Krishna Paramatma is there, that is good. We have to make lot of efforts. We need to we renunciate all the desires. You enjoy the whatever you get, you enjoy. But if you don't get, you don't just weep for that. I did not get. That person has got it. He has. I have made all hardship. I worked very hard. I did not get, but that man has got. You need not worry like that. Krishna knows what he wants to give. See, earlier also I told you, you have not heard. In Ramayana, Lakshmana is 24 hours into 7 days with Rama. Bharata, he was in Kaikeyi Nagara after his marriage, and then by the time he returned back, Rama is already left to forest. But he is the pure devotee. Out of devotion means love. Out of devotion, because Dasharatha Maharaj has sent him to forest, he wants to bring back Rama to make him king. When he went, what his desire was there, he wanted Rama to come back and occupy the throne. He went to Rama and prayed to him to come back and take the throne. But what Rama did? Bharata, I can't be king. I have promised my father, I cannot come. I will be in the forest for 14 years. Instead of me, what he has done, he has given his footwear, chappals, paduka. He gave his footwear and sent him back. Take this footwear and rule the country. So like that, Krishna knows. You might be desiring some crore of rupees, but he may not give crore. He might give you some 100 crores, or he might give you only 1,000 rupees, or he may not give that also. But because he is our original parent, he is the Adi Mata, Adi Guru, Adi Pita, also Adi Guru. He knows what to give when. Like your parents know what to give it to you when and all those things. When you were a small child, they have given you the milk or food, whatever it is they required at that time. When you are grown, proper education, then and clothing. Still again, if you are still grown, they'll get you married. They know when to do, what to do. Like that, similarly, God knows what to give, when to give. He might, if you have a desire, he might fulfill your desire immediately, or a month later, or a year later, or he may not give in this life. He might give you in the next life. So many things will happen. So, without expecting a result, positive result, without expecting a positive result, you just pray to him. You just tell, Oh Krishna, give me devotion in you, give me bhakti to worship you, to do your devotional service. That means again, devotional service means it's not that you are going to sit and do argyam, padyam, placing flowers, doing the agarbatti, just not the service. You can participating in this satsang is also a devotional service, doing such activities also a devotional service, preaching the same, what I have told you have listened to these things. This one, preaching at home to your family, your parents, to your friends, that is also devotional service. Associating in different activities with devotees is also a devotional service. And while bathing, while cooking, while eating, while driving, while traveling, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chanting any of his names, not only Hare Krishna Mantra, any of his names, chanting his names is a devotional service. So in this Kali Yuga, since we have very less time, because we are busy, very busy. You are going to college or school? College. So you are now already time is up. You need to run. We don't have time. So for that reason, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a devotee of Krishna, he himself is Krishna, but in this Kali Yuga, to show us how a devotee should behave, Krishna incarnated as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and given us the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This can be chanted 24 hours into 7 days into 365, 100 years of our life. In Kali Yuga, our life is 100 years. Earlier it was more. Now it is 100 years life. You can chant throughout. So that in the end of the life, we would remember him and be qualified for moksha. Your desire is for moksha, but we may not get moksha also. Like Bharata got footwear instead of king going, Rama going there to occupy throne. He may not give moksha, but he might give something else. So, but if you have that desire to get moksha, you will be qualified, and he might give the moksha itself. Because in Bhagavad Gita tell, out of crores and crores of this total population in the universe, only some lakhs might worship him, and out of lakhs only few thousands will really realize him, and among the thousands only few like 5 or 10 may be liberated. Because it is we have to make lot of efforts in achieving to get liberalized. But if now listening to that one and thinking that we have to make lot of efforts, we should never stop the worshipping or devotion of God. That is the thing we need to practice. Wherever you go, think about Krishna. If it is possible to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, otherwise you can preach whatever you listen to here. You can preach it and discuss with your friends, relatives, everyone. Like that you remembering. So now our time is over for today's Bhagavatam class. We shall just pray to Lord Gopinath for a few minutes and disperse. स्वस्ति प्राप्या प्रयन्त्यां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिमेषा भवतु नित्यं समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रिया बुद्ध्यात्मते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् परस्मै नारायणं समर्पयामि श्रीमन् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु मंगलम 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 जय श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की टेल लाउडली जय श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की जय श्री बलराम जगन्नाथ सुभद्रा माई की जय श्री नरसिंह भगवान की जय श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय श्री पंचतत्वा की जय श्री मध्वातम ग्रंथ की जय श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय श्री प्रपात की हरे कृष्ण।